After officials cancelled talks scheduled for today. But the big question now is, how does the movement have the energy to keep going? Senior international correspondent Ivan Watson is in Hong Kong. So, Ivan, these talks have been cancelled. Does that mean we've reached some kind of impasse or stalemate? Where do the students go from here?
Well, you can argue that the stalemate has been underway for at least a week and a half here with these types of protest encampments in downtown Hong Kong. There had been a lot of interpretation that the preliminary talks between the student protest groups and the Hong Kong government were leading to some kind of, hopefully some resolution, but then the number 2 official in the Hong Kong government made this announcement on Thursday evening. Take a listen.
With much regret, based on the public remarks made by the student representatives over these 2 days, especially this afternoon, I realize that the basis for a constructive dialogue between us and the students has been seriously undermined. I truly regret that we will not be able to have a meeting tomorrow which will produce any constructive outcome.
Now, Zane, in response, the student protest groups have stepped up their calls for a protest rally this evening, a couple of hours from now, presumably to try to make a show of popular force to the Hong Kong government. They've called on demonstrators to come here to Hong Kong's Admiralty District, bringing tents and sleeping bags, and this will be a test for the students whose numbers have dwindled over the course of the past several days to sometimes just maybe 100 or 200 protesters camping out here at night. In the last hour or so, we have seen a growing number of people filing through this area, taking a look at the protest signs, the banners that are here. But it'll be interesting to see whether or not they can muster the kind of numbers and enthusiasm that we saw in the first week of this protest movement. Zane?
Right, Ivan, you mentioned just there that the number of protesters has been dwindling. So what is it going to take to breathe a new lease of life into these protests, into these demonstrations?
I guess we'll have to see tonight whether you get those surging scenes of just that sea of humanity out here, calling for democracy, repeating calls for the top official here in Hong Kong, C.Y. Leung, for him to step down. That's been one of the demands that's been made by the demonstrators now for more than a week and a half. It's a demand that's been picked up by some of the opposition legislators in Hong Kong's Legislative Council, who say that they're drawing up plans to try to impeach C.Y. Leung based on the actions of the police, their use of tear gas more than a week and a half ago in this very area. But even if you get large numbers of people here, again, out in this occupied stretch of highway in the heart of Hong Kong, this financial hub, there is still that question: do these demonstrators represent, do they enjoy the support of a majority of residents of this city? And that's something that's a little difficult to tell right now. Certainly we know that there are sectors of society here that are more and more frustrated with the inconvenience that this protest movement, that this pro-democracy sit-in has imposed on the rest of society, on the snarling traffic jams, and some of the impact that this has had on smaller businesses here. We have not seen a sign that this has hurt the banks, the financial sector here, as much as some people had warned before this Occupy movement came into play here. Zane?
Right, and we'll see if the number of protesters continues to grow in the coming days. All right, Ivan Watson live for us there in Hong Kong, where it's just gone about 1:45 in the afternoon.